Alrighty, everybody, we are back, and today we're putting together the LokHust Heavy Destroyer Warhammer thing, and we're going to be testing out the YoloCam S3 overhead cam. So we finally got that in. So yeah, here's a little quick teaser on the camera. As usually everybody knows, I have this view here, which is, and let me see if we can get that dialed in a little bit. So that's the view from the side, and then here is the overhead. Boom. So that should turn out pretty good. Yeah, that's what we're looking at doing. So we're going to jump on this. I'm going to be leaving today to go to Seoul. For those of you, I'm Steve and Ned Benev. Yeah, cool. Welcome to the stream. For those of you who don't know, there's only one person watching now, but after the fact, I'm Steve, the hobby tech guy, American expat, retired here in Korea, and we're going to be taking a trip to the Philippines. So later today, we're going to get a bus and we're going to go to Seoul and Incheon International Airport. We're going to spend one night up there, and then bright and early tomorrow morning on Saturday, we're going to take a trip on T-Way Air to Cebu. Yeah. So we're going to the Macatan Cebu International Airport in the Philippines, and we'll spend a week in Cebu. We'll swim with whale sharks, hopefully, and some other aquatic animals. Enjoy that, chill out at the beach, and then we'll go from there after a week there and go to Boracay, and we'll spend a week just kind of chilling out there, maybe doing a couple tours, little evening sunset cruise. We'll do that as well. But I wanted to kind of jump onto this LokHust. And yeah, it's gonna be a good thing. I'm gonna miss putting together the miniatures and painting them up, but like Ned Benev says, another road trip adventure. Yes, it will be. It will be. So in this part of the video, we're gonna go over to the bench over there, but I'm going to run through different views on the. It'll scroll through some different views. So we have this one here. We have this one here where it zooms in a little bit, and then we got a top-down view, and then we've got another top-down view, and then it goes back out to the side, and it'll go back to there. So we'll see how all of these turn out, and let's just go ahead and we'll jump right in it, and we'll get this. Hopefully we can get this guy put together. I don't have a lot of time, and let me get my tablet up. And so that way we can take a look at the screen, and I can get the light out of my eye. And this is about as professional as I think it's going to get, especially with the two camera views. And of course now my tablet's okay. Now my tablet's going. Now I can, I don't want to do that. Now I want to go to my channel. Now, okay, now we've got the live feed. Okay. Crisis averted. So, yes, this is the LokHust Heavy Destroyer. As you can see that there, and this should be an interesting thing. I started putting it together last night. A lot of details on this guy. As you can see here, if we can kind of zoom that in, a lot of cool details. I don't know, it looks kind of weird, but yeah, it is what it is. So it's got a couple of different options. You've got like this one where he has like a sniper rifle thing. This one is I think the Gauze Rifle Destroyer or something. It's better as an anti-armor or anti-tank gun, so I'm going to go ahead and run with that. And yeah, there we go. So what we'll end up doing is we will continue on. Now this piece has been giving me a little bit of a problem here, in the fact that had some bulging areas and had to sand a bunch of stuff down, and even on this back portion, if you can see that there, we're still getting a gap. And so I'm not sure how we're going to do that. The front is good, but the back here and the bottom is okay. It comes together, but it's just this top section here. And so what I've been doing is sanding down this area here, and in the hopes that we can sand that down and we can get some lessen that gap. So and then of course once we prime all this, it should be good to go. And you know, worst case scenario, what I can end up doing is, I guess, it is so close, so close. You know what I can do? I'm going to use my Hozo. This is that ultrasonic blade that I've got to do a review on, and this thing has been great. I really appreciate this thing, and I've been using it more and more. So what we'll do, we'll just do the press touch, and we will shave a little bit of that off, and on the back end, we can shave a little bit of that off as well. And this operates at 40,000 hertz, and it cuts through plastic and PLA like butter. So this thing is, it's a little expensive, but I like it. I like it a lot. So now we can just kind of see if we can hit that gap a little bit. Yeah, we got a little bit better. But there's still, on the back end, that's good, but there's something like right in there. And I think we'll just go through and we'll kind of hit this up a little bit, because I think it's that right there. Might be picking up a little bit of noise on this because of the cutter, but this ends up, it's not as loud as you hear on the recording. It's just, I guess it's just like a certain frequency that just kind of goes through, and it just really hits up the wireless microphone. And let's see if this fixes it. Okay, I think that's going to be the best that we're going to get. And I think what we can end up doing, on the bottom it's good. It's still, that top is a little bit off, but I think we can fill this with a little bit of glue. And then once we do that, then what'll happen is we can kind of super glue that, and which we have super glue. We have super glue. There, we've got some super glue, and we can spray some activator on there and fill in those gaps, and we should be good to go. So that's about as good as we're going to get. You know, maybe a little bit of sanding. And we should be good to go. Like I said, I think we could end up gluing this and we'll be good. And any seams, what we could end up doing is going through, and we can just hit those up. should be good to go. So, see if we can't get this on there and get it snapped on. And we could, I just can't get my finger in there, unfortunately. So what we'll do is we'll put in a little bit of activator. So that way we can get that going. And on the bottom, we got a little bit of a seam, if you can see there, but I don't think that's a deal killer. Again, we can fill that in with some glue. So, but for the most part, I think we're good on that. Let's see what else we got. We got Ferrithus there. Says, good morning. When are we heading out? We are heading out at approximately, it's 9:30 now. We're probably going to leave about 11:45 to go on to the military base, and then we'll catch a bus to go to the Incheon airport. So, Saved by Grace is here. What y'all doing? We're putting together some more Warhammer stuff. Will last a little bit before I go on vacation. And who knew? So, we got George that popped in and said howdy. So it's good to see George. And now we need 24, which is that piece right there that'll go on the front of that thing. And I checked with Grok or AI. I used Grok to find out which version of these I should use, whether it should be the big or the smaller one with the blade. The big one says it's better for anti-tank or anti-vehicle. So I figured if I do get into playing Warhammer, Necrons seem to have a problem with some heavy going against tanks and vehicles. So I thought, we'll get one of these, we'll put it together, and because yeah, they're like 30 bucks a pop. So yeah, much fun. And we will pre-fit that to make sure that that fits in there. And I guess, let me get my other bag. So I get my small bag of super glue, a small bottle. Because that big bottle is like, I'll use that for some big stuff. This one is more miniature model friendly, so just add a little bit. You paint them and everything, that's awesome. Yeah, I try. And so yeah, this should turn out pretty good. And again, the details on these guys are just kind of wild. So, and kind of like what we'll end up doing is kind of like painting these guys and getting them all ready. Again, just something to do. And then playing the game is after I build the army and get them all put together, painted, then we'll learn how to play and we'll see if I like that. So, yeah. Alrighty. Now this is for the other guy, so we don't need that. So we finished this. And that's for the other. We already got his arm on there. Oh, there's another arm on there. Seriously? Really? He's got 2 arms? Oh, I guess he does have 2 arms. Okay, I did not know that. I was wondering why I was like, hey, you need to put on an arm, and I'm like, I already did that. But yeah, so he's gonna have 3 arms. I don't know, would you rather have 3 arms or 3 legs? Or a 3rd leg? Well, most guys have a 3rd leg, but yeah, I never noticed that. Okay, cool. Should be good to go on that. Okay, so we got another hole there. We got a hole in there, and then that's going to marry up there. So it will go something like that. Seriously, just drop it, Wilson, just drop it. And that fits in there. So it's going to need to stretch a little bit to pop in there. And that is what that should look like. Let me see if I can move this so you can get some better light. So yeah, he's got the 3rd arm there. So this will get us back to our glue. Throw a little bit on his ball joint. And we'll put a little bit on that. And that is it for that. So yeah, end up we got his 3rd arm there, as we can end up seeing. Kind of an interesting little guy that we got. And this is the base that we'll be using. So now, since we did that, we can start to put this together and some rocks. And we've got rocks. And we've got 29, which is this big one here. But yeah, a little excited about the Philippines trip. It should be an interesting little trip that we got there. And it doesn't have numbers. Oh, it does have numbers. 30. That was 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So I guess we just put rocks on there, and I guess that is going to be there. And 31 and 32. And let's see, what else do we got? That is the end. So we'll see how this goes. So that one, we need one more piece of dirt, which is 33. Which is that piece there. Do we have any other rock pieces? And then we got 30. So we got options. We have options. So like I said, this will just be a short little video because I really want to test this top-down view that we're looking at now, and then that should be good. And especially when I do painting and stuff like that, because this will force me to do more painting. And the question is, how are these going to fit? Okay, so we get that. And we can do this little skull. My big fat fingers. Oh, seriously. And it hit the floor and went somewhere. So now I get to turn the lights on and find that tiny ass little skull. Where did you go? Seriously? You gotta be kidding me. This is rough. Now I gotta get out my phone. I gotta get out the flashlight. On my hands and knees, trying to figure out where the skull's at. I knew that was gonna happen. Seriously. You gotta be kidding me. I guess it disappeared. Oh, there it is. Okay. Tiny. Crisis averted. And it doesn't help that I have big fat fingers. Which is kind of the thing. Seriously. It's like, and it's like an octagon shaped hole, and of course it's got the smallest skull known to man on there, and it's rotated. Okay, I think we got it. Good Lord, seriously. And then we got this other piece here, but that is a circle, so where is that supposed to go? We have this other little piece, 31, but it doesn't say where 31 goes because the other piece is here. Like that. So we have 31 here. Where the hell does 31 go? Really? That's what we're doing? Because this marries up with this hole here. Like that. So you can see like that. So I'm not sure where this piece goes. There's no other place for that. Why is that here? I don't get it. Or is this, if you have multiple ones, you can replace some of this and add another piece on here, I guess. Maybe that's the deal, is that you can interchange these. I guess you can. Because you also have another rack right here, so 32 and 32, so you get a few options to do that. Okay, well, we'll keep that. We'll keep all of these leftover parts in case we want to do some kit bashing. In other words, kit bashing is where you take leftover model parts and you can kind of make some additions to the existing character or other characters. You know, I could take something like this, since it's extra, and I could put it onto a base like this, cut that off, the piece that's there, and I could add that onto the base here. So, and the same thing, we also have another rock that we could put on another one of the bases. So that way we could get a little bit of difference on there. So we could add kind of something like that and add that on there. So, okay. Well, we'll just leave that there. And I think we've got this done. Now, I'm not going to glue this guy on here because I want to be able to get to the base here. And what we're going to do with all the bases, we're going to add some Vietnam Earth as our base color. So it's kind of similar to this right here, but it's a little bit of a richer red color. But I think that'll be a real good contrast to the way that we're going to paint our Necrons, which is kind of what we see here on this guy. So this is a blown up version, testing out some paint schemes and stuff like that, just to kind of play around. And I think with this color for the ground would be pretty good. So kind of similar to that. It's a little bit orange and reddish, but you know, we could always go through and we could change some colors on that, but I want them pretty much to be all the same color for the bases. So yeah, and I got this here in Korea, www.ammo.es, and they've got other colors. So they got sand, they got asphalt, they got concrete color. So this was close to what I wanted, and I did want to use this color here, which is this ground texture from Green Stuff World, the light earth color, which is really what I wanted, but I can't find any more of this. So yeah, I had to, that's going to be the substitute, is that stuff there. So since I have to prime this up and get the underside of this, I'm not going to glue that onto the base until we get this all primed, and then of course painted. We'll paint this on its own, and then after we do the base and after we do the character, the miniature here, then we'll go ahead and we will put them on the base, and that'll be finished up. So yeah, some good stuff there. think we can do is we can fill in that hole a little bit with some super glue, that edge, and we'll see how that goes. Saved by Grace says, what other hobbies do you have? Other hobbies, I go to the gym, I work out. Other hobbies, I do some drones. I haven't flown my drone here in Korea yet. So there's some licensing stuff that comes into play. But I did a bunch of drone stuff when we lived on Oahu for a while. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. Matter of fact, I really had a good time with the drone and all of that stuff. Let's see if we can just add a little bit on there. And then see if we can't force that in. And we should be good to go on that. I'll just do a little spritz on here. Well, there's a little bit more on the back end. And the bottom, I guess we could do that too, because that's going to need a little bit. I'm not too concerned about the bottom, but I mean, I could just do a little spritz activator. And we should be good to go. So that should be good. So there we have it. What we ended up doing is finishing up, for the most part, our LokHust Heavy Destroyer, which is an anti-tank type of dude. And normally you have like 2 or 3 of these. But these are like $30 some odd a pop. So yeah, I figured I'll just get one, and then yeah, when we come back from vacation, I'll get another 1 or 2, and we should be good to go. Then we'll prime all those up. Once we get these, we'll get 2 more of these, and then the rest of our Necron Army Combat Patrol Box, and all of these guys here. We got our Scarabs, we've got more Scarabs, we've got our infantry dudes, and yeah, we've got a lot of painting to do. So yeah, and then we even have our Doomstalker that has our LED light on there. So that's pretty cool. Be able to have the light on there, and yeah, cool stuff. So yeah, a lot going on, a lot of painting that needs to come into play. Oh, the other thing we could end up doing. No, I got to do this separate too, because this guy goes together like that. Like that there, but I don't want to glue them together because I'm going to have to paint the back of him, and that is going to be a pain in the butt if I glue them together like this, and then it's going to be impossible to paint the back of him. So we'll leave him separate. So there's a couple items that we're going to have to end up doing, taking apart, kind of like this guy here. You know, we'll have to paint those and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. That's what we got. I think this is going to be the end of the video. We'll go back to the desk and we'll do some few parting thoughts on our little thing that we got going on here. And I'm trying to get the best, kind of like try to get the best lighting that we can on this. So that way when we kind of bring stuff up here, we can have some good light. And focus. There we go. So we got some good light. That looks good. And then if we do the overhead shot, which should be the next one that pops up, I'm waiting for it to cycle so that way I can see if this is, if we need to bring the camera closer. No, that's the one. Let me just do it on the computer. And we'll do the top down. So there's that top down one. And so that way there's that, which should be about normal. And then the other one is going to be zoomed in even more. But I think we need to zoom that in a little bit more. So let's do the zoom thing. I'll move that over, and I think that'll be good. So when we do painting and stuff like that, because if I paint, I'll be about right here. We could even zoom that in a little bit better, a little bit more. Yeah, let's zoom that in a bit more. Like so. And so that way, you know what? I could even zoom that in even more. Let's just zoom it all the way in. That's the max zoom. And so if I have my elbows resting on this and I'm doing painting, I think that's a pretty decent. I might even bring the camera down lower. So let's try that. So bear with me a little bit. I'll bring the camera down there. We'll rotate this here. Like so. So that way, when I do that, I can rest my elbows, we can do our little painting, and I think that will work. Okay. So that's good. That is good. And then we'll end up, as we can go back to there, we get the wide side shot, we've got that one, we got the top down, and then we got the close in top down. I think that will work. Alrighty. So that's what we got going on. Stuff going on. We have dun dun dun. Saved by Grace says, cool. Let's start a band. We'll all have a good one later. All right, have a good one. We got Swedish Forge is in the house. Good, 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 good. And like I said, what we're ended up doing is just the last little building of the LokHust heavy destroyer that we saw on the page there, and that was the gray guy. We put him together, so that's all good and done. And just finished up powering up my earbuds, phones charged, the whole 9 yards. And what I can end up doing is turn the lights off, and we can end this up. And we're going to take off today to head up to Seoul to go to the Philippines for a 2-week vacation, 1 week in Cebu. We'll do some swimming with whale sharks. That should be interesting, and turtles and other aquatic life. And then after a week there, we're going to go to Boracay and chill out again, doing more beach action, a couple tours, sunset cruise. That should be good. That's always good. Did that in Oahu as well. So yeah, really looking forward to it. But I know I'm going to be wanting to paint my miniatures. So I'll be looking forward to coming back and, of course, seeing everybody here as well. So with that being said, Ferrithus says, enjoy your vacation. Yes, I hope so. We hope so. Hopefully we won't get caught in the Philippines and they run out of fuel and we get stuck on a beach in the Philippines for Lord knows how long because they don't have airline fuel. There was a article that Terry sent me an article saying that airlines are dropping people because of the lack of fuel. And the Philippines, let's go back. Let's just rant a little bit. Philippines gets all its oil from the Middle East. So what, and they're under an emergency energy declaration thing. So they're trying to scrap together and find out how they're going to be able to get some fuel, because the Straits of Hormuz and the Iran thing and the whole 9 yards is kind of sketchy. Oh, Ned Benham says, have a great trip. It might be a long trip. We'll see. Might be more than 2 weeks if we get stuck in the Philippines. But the interesting thing is Iran has told Korea that they have safe passage, their ships have safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz to get oil and petroleum. So it's like, okay, so that's good that here for Korea, but not so good for places, for the Philippines and other countries. It's just not a good thing. Ferrith says, no, Steve, not war is one and everything is safe. We'll see. We will see. We will see. I don't know. There's such a varied history of Iran and the United States and oil and other countries and terrorism and the whole 9 yards. I don't know. I'm going to stick my nose out of that one. I'm just going to stick with 3D models, vacations, and stuff like that. That is way beyond my 2 cents. It's just, like I said in a previous post, I think the countries that are going to win in the long run are those that are going to be championing hydrogen-powered vehicles. Yeah. Korea, matter of fact, Hyundai has a vehicle called the Nexo, N-E-X-O, and the 2026 model is, it can go 835 or 53 kilometers, which is a pretty impressive range, and it's a hybrid hydrogen electric vehicle. So you fill the tank with hydrogen, which is a 5-minute refill, but then you can go 835 kilometers, over 800 kilometers on that, and it runs the engine, which charges the battery. So you have this, dual capability. Because it's one thing to have an electric vehicle, but to get the electricity to charge your electric vehicle, if it's dependent upon foreign oil and you don't have a lot of oil yourself, it's not really doing you any good. So I think Korea is stepping in the right direction when I was talking about hydrogen vehicles and things like that. Supposedly they have about 300 or 400 refueling stations throughout Korea. Again, the infrastructure and the rebuilding of that is going to be a challenge, but that will bring Korea out of the stranglehold of a lot of petroleum and oil and things like that. So yeah, it is interesting. Ferrith says, how is hydrogen not betting on foreign oil? Because there's 2 ways that hydrogen can be made. One, it can be made through petroleum and oil. That's one way. But the other way that you can make it is by water, which is the most abundant thing that we have on this planet. You can take water and you can do electrolysis. You can split the atoms because it's H2O. 1 part hydrogen, 2 parts oxygen. You can split that up and you get hydrogen gas. And then the byproduct is basically water vapor and water. So it is ultimately the clean green vehicle or process to fuel vehicles and things like that, because the byproduct is basically water vapor. So, you'll end up with, H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, and you get the hydrogen and you use that for the vehicle. Leftover is the other parts of the oxygen. It's not going to kill the environment. So in that, getting away from that and doing electrolysis with water, and either through natural reserves of hydrogen or creating it through water, that I think is going to be the thing there. We got MD. Mirdef is in the house. Hello. Ferrith has said, so why would I not directly charge my battery car instead of losing 50% of that to split water? Electrolysis is super efficient. Yeah, it is, but it can be done. Matter of fact, I had a hydrogen addition that I put on my truck, and I got anywhere from 6 to 7, 8 miles a gallon increase on my little Ford Ranger. So it does work. Is it inefficient? Yeah, but the water is the most abundant thing that we have on this planet. So eventually it'll get to a place where we'll be able to process and make hydrogen out of water. It'll get more efficient, more effective. We'll be able to do it quickly. The cost will come down. And again, if that's the case, then yeah, you can lessen the amount of dependence upon foreign oil. So I think Korea is stepping in the right direction. And I think that's going to be the next big thing, is who has the hydrogen reserves if they start pushing towards this. You know, electric car is great. I think that's really good. But if you're using foreign oil to charge your electric car, and now there's a stranglehold on foreign oil because of politics and wars and all that crap that's going on, you don't want to get caught up playing that game, in my opinion. So I don't know. MD says, just saying hi real quick, and awesome possum. All right, thanks for stopping by. It's been a while since we saw you, so good stopping by. No, what I'm saying is you need electricity to make hydrogen from water. You also you can also just directly charge an EV with that electricity instead. That's absolutely true. I'm not saying that's not the case, but what I am saying is that there's other ways in which you can generate electricity to do the electrolysis for the hydrogen. You know, you could do things like nuclear power and things like that. So there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat, and how to do that, that's going to be a thing in the future. I totally expect that to be a thing in the future, where, yeah, it's need to get off the dependence of foreign oil. And of course, you also got solar power and other things. And I just read an article, matter of fact, it was yesterday, talking about putting solar panels up in space because you get more energy than you do with solar panels here on Earth. And of course, that's kind of way out into the future, but the way information is doubling and tripling over time in such a short amount of time these days, yeah, I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. So again, it's kind of like, if you don't want to play in the rat race of foreign oil and wars and conflicts and things like that in the Straits of Hormuz, and you know, either you're going to have to deliver the oil in some other way, or that government is going to have to change for the better. You know, it's just, I don't know. But I think personally, I think that is where the next advancements in personal transportation and even public transportation is going to be on hydrogen. Fairness says, I'm very happy with my battery EV right now. I'm unaffected by all this bullshit. Except for the fact that your electricity is made primarily in the United States via fossil fuels. And I don't mean dinosaurs died and decayed and that's where we get our oil from. Oil, I think, is a natural byproduct of the earth, and it's always recurring, because at the rate the world has used as much oil and petroleum as it has, I think we would have run out of dead dinosaurs. But you know, it comes to the point of where, you know, how is your electricity generated? Most of them are coal plants or oil or petroleum. The majority of that in the United States. So, but then again, the United States just liberated Venezuela, which is one of the richer oil countries in the world. So we got that going on. And we also have the oil reserves in the United States that they've been holding on tightly to. So whether this administration opens that up or not remains to be seen. But in light of that, I think going towards hydrogen is a viable option, in my opinion. But yeah, the electric vehicle, matter of fact, we've been looking at electric vehicles, ran across the Nexio and looking at hydrogen and things like that. Yeah, it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting indeed. So, Fairth says, true, I'm going to get greener with time, but the amount of energy I need to drive is equivalent to about 120 miles per gallon. With current pricing, probably closer to 150. That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm all for that. That's why we were looking more into the electric vehicle, and then I ran across the information on the hydrogen electric vehicle. I still need to do some more look at that more to see if you can just charge up the battery, or can you charge the battery and drive electrically with the Nexo, or can you do both, fill it up with hydrogen, which will run the vehicle and charge the battery type of, hybrid thing that we got going there. If it can do both of those things, where you can either charge the battery and or use hydrogen to run the vehicle, charge the battery type of thing, it looks really interesting. And it's 70 million yuan is the cost on that, which 70 million yuan is, and we'll divide it by 1450 exchange rate. You're talking about 48,000. But with subsidies for the Korean government, they're bringing that down to, according to the news articles, 40 million yuan. And I don't know if I would qualify for subsidies here in Korea for that Nexo. But if we divide 40 million yuan by 1450, which is low, that's 27,000. So it'd probably be about $30,000 for that vehicle. So I don't know. It's very, very tempting. And especially if it does the electric vehicle thing. Fairth says in the long run, I think hydrogen is going to be for semi-trucks and up. Passenger cars are going to be batteries, just so much cheaper than hydrogen because of the efficiency advantage. And that's the other thing. I haven't been able to find the information on how much to recharge that vehicle. So I haven't found that yet. I guess I could put it in a Grok. Fairth says for semis and up, the battery just gets heavy, reducing the usable loading capacity. Yeah, it's way too much. There's, in the United States, for example, when they're talking about Tesla and the giant semis and the weight of some of those vehicles, you wouldn't be able to drive them on certain roads, or bridges, because they're just way too heavy. Exactly what you said. Let me pull up Grok, since we're talking about Tesla, and ask the question, how much is the average cost in USD to fill up the hydrogen tank of the 2026 Hyundai Nexo? And it's thinking. The hydrogen capacity is 6.69 kilos. So probably starting fuel about 5 minutes refuel, 800 kilometers. Let's see, it says, well, this is in California. Let me adjust that. In Korea, we won't put USD because it's talking about the results popped in California, and California is the highest gas ever. Here it is. Okay, hydrogen retail prices in South Korea vary by station, region, and time, but recent data as of early 2026 shows an average of 10 to 15,000 won per kilo at public stations. So when we have, how many, what was that? 6.69 kilos. And we'll just say times 12,000 won. That's 80,000 won. Divide that, and the exchange rate, we'll put 1475 because it's actually higher. So about 54 bucks for a tank. So, or around $70, $50 to $70. It kind of depends. $50 to $70 depending on the exchange rate, but the exchange rate is really, really official figures around 170 kilometers on test cycle in real world, about 99% or 99 plus kilometers per kilogram. So that'll be interesting. Not as good as electric vehicle, but it is interesting. So yeah. So our next vehicle, we're looking at possibly an electric vehicle. And for our next vehicle, we're going to run this one into the ground. Does the 2026 Nexo run on battery and hydrogen? Let's see what it says. It runs on both hydrogen fuel cell and a small high electric voltage battery. The primary energy is hydrogen. Vehicle is a fuel cell electric vehicle. Battery is a small lithium ion with 2.4 kilowatt capacity. Its output power has doubled to 80 kilowatts. The fuel cell continuously generates electricity to power the motor and recharge the battery as needed. You do not need to plug the Nexo into an electrical charger like a battery electric vehicle. Instead, you refill the hydrogen tank, and so it's not a battery EV per se. That is, so it'll go about 513 miles. 826 kilometers or 513, depending on driving and stuff like that. But if they could end up taking and having an electric vehicle that also can use hydrogen as well, that would be interesting. Ferris says, when charging at home, I pay about $14 for a full charge. That'll get me about 270 miles. I like that. I like that. Gas is currently $3.80 here, so about 71 miles per gallon right now, equivalent. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, I'm leaning more and more towards electric vehicle. If they can make an electric vehicle and, of course, do the hydrogen as well, that would be interesting. Hydrogen vehicles are battery EVs with a smaller battery, but constantly getting recharged by the fuel cell. Yes, they are. So I think that's an interesting combination, too. That'll be something. It's really wild how that works out. Anyway, I've got a lot more years to run on my Hyundai Sonata. We'll be doing that for a while, probably for many years, until whenever we buy an electric vehicle or some other type of alternative fuel vehicle. It'll be many years down the road, and it will be used, because we've never bought a used car or never bought a new car. We've always bought used cars, so we'll see how it goes. Excuse me. But anyway, yeah, good stuff, good information. I'm leaning more and more, and there's a lot of electric charging stations here in Korea. We have some in the apartment complex and stuff like that. They seem to be at a premium, though, because we're getting more and more people with electric cars. Not too bad, but for the amount of driving that we do, it's not bad. It is not bad at all. I think they need to put some more charging stations. Just like with anything else, you're going to have to build the infrastructure for whether it's an electric vehicle, hydrogen vehicle, or whatever alternative fuel. You need those filling stations, recharge stations, and yeah, that's the one thing that's been holding me back, is just living in the apartment complex that we do. There are stations to recharge your vehicle. And I guess since we're retired, I got to keep an eye on them to see how full those slots stay during the day, because we're retired, so we could fill it up during the day or the night. And yeah, I might, I'm leaning towards the electric vehicles. But I see the importance of trying to get away from petroleum and oil. So, Ferris says he drives about 15,000 miles a year. I charge about every 2 or 3 days. Nice. That's not bad. And yeah, I'll have to take a look at that and figure out how many miles we drive. It's not much. So I think when we're looking at the Nexo and its 826 kilometer range, I mean, we fill up about every other month with our Hyundai Sonata, with gas about every other month. So month and a half, every 2 months, we fill it up, and yeah, so we don't drive a lot either. So with an electric vehicle, man, that would go a long way. That would definitely go a long way. So now you've got me interested. Okay, I think we're going to end up doing is we're going to cut this because it is 10:20, and we're going to cut. I need to do some last minute go over of my packing, make sure that we got all our ducks in a row, money, passport, shaving gear, socks, earbuds, the whole 9 yards, and empty some trash, do some little cleanup before we go, so that way we return, we will be good. Ferrithus says every other month, so basically you need an EV that has 200 miles of range and charge it once a week. Probably, yeah, maybe once a week, probably once a week, maybe. It depends. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm really kind of interested because when we take taxis here in Korea, a lot of people are buying taxis and doing independent taxi service with electric vehicles, and they're pretty nice. Holy crow. Really, really nice. So yeah, being tempted, but our car has to die first. So we got to get our money out of that. So anyway, for those of you who are watching, if you got anything out of this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. If you want to contact me, there is my email address. I will answer, but being that I'm going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks in the Philippines, I might be slow in responding. So just be aware of that. People over here bought me coffee. There's a link in the description box if you want to do that. But like I said, the best thing that you can do for me is to like and subscribe to the channel, where we will do commentaries, 3D printing, miniature painting, and whatever else rolls across my desk and things that I want to do in the varied life that I lead. See how I took the name of the channel and brought that into the conversation? Yeah, getting better. So anyway, yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. The weekend's coming up. It's Friday here in Korea, so hope you all have a good one, and send your well wishes and vibes as we are on vacation. We'll try to do some videos and streaming. Don't know if that'll work, but if you do, we'll see some Philippines. And if we get back, I'll make a video and throw that on the channel as well. Alrighty, well, that being said, everybody have a good one. Thank you, Ferrithus, Nedventive, and all the other people. Terry didn't come in. MD was here. We had Swedish was in. George showed up. So yeah, we had a pretty good amount. And we'll see you on the next video. All right, everybody, have a good one. Peace. Good. I like it.